Hello, I'm Kathy-Martinez, and I would like to thank the Stroke Sick for the invitation to share our 2020 CSM poster titled Unweighting Paretic Limb in Stroke Survivors Does Not Facilitate Reactive Lateral Stepping. Falls in the medial lateral direction are common in individuals post-stroke, especially when the weight is shifted laterally to the paretic side. Non-impaired controls are able to unload their limb to execute a lateral reactive step more often than individuals post-stroke. Lateral steps allow for a wider base of support and minimize limb collisions over crossover steps. In our previous work, unweighting the paretic limb increased perturbation-induced paretic limb stepping in the anterior direction. Therefore, the primary purpose of our study was to investigate paretic limb reactive stepping behavior in the lateral direction in individuals with chronic stroke under two weight-bearing conditions. Secondary purpose was to compare voluntary and reactive lateral step characteristics. Our hypothesis was that unweighting the paretic limb would increase frequency of lateral stepping with the paretic limb, and that reactive step onset would be faster than voluntary for both the paretic and the non-paretic lateral steps. Subjects post-stroke stood with each foot on a separate force platform and performed 10 voluntary stepping trials, 5 in each direction, and 20 reactive lateral pull trials, 10 in each direction to the paretic and the non-paretic side. In the voluntary step conditions, subjects stood in their natural stance posture and took two voluntary steps as fast as they could to a go signal towards the paretic and the non-paretic side. In the reactive step conditions, subjects were given a lateral waist pull perturbation of 10% of their body weight to both the paretic and the non-paretic side in two conditions: natural standing posture and with 75% of their weight on the limb away from the pull. Step frequency, step type, kinematic, and ground reaction force data was collected. Here is a video of one stroke subject's reactive step to a pull towards the paretic side. Results. We observed 3 types of step: lateral steps in the purple, medial steps in the pink, and crossover steps in the white. Surprisingly, you can see from this figure that unweighting the leg actually decreased the number of times the 5 subjects took a lateral step with their paretic limb, and did not change the number of times they took a lateral step with their non-paretic limb in the natural stance or the unweighted condition. Lateral step onset time. Green is for the paretic leg, blue is for the non-paretic leg. Paretic limb lateral step onset time was faster in the reactive step than for the voluntary step. And there was no difference in step onset time for the non-paretic leg for voluntary and reactive conditions. In summary, unweighting the paretic and the non-paretic limb did not increase the frequency of lateral reactive stepping in those limbs. The 75-25 weight distribution may have been too large a change from the subject's comfortable initial stance position, disrupting their natural motor program to utilize a lateral step. In the natural stance position, lateral perturbations allowed paretic limb steps to occur faster than voluntary steps, but had no effect on the paretic limb lateral step onset time. A more gradual unweighting of the limb may be needed to facilitate reactive lateral stepping during training. The faster onset time of the paretic limb in the reactive versus the voluntary stepping may indicate the potential for reactive training to drive the paretic limb to move more quickly. Thank you for your interest in our study and to the participants for their time.